My name is Lanita Wright. I am the editor of the Health Promotion Practice Journal. I've been a member of SOFI for at least 10 years. Being a member of SOFI has allowed me an opportunity to connect with so many professionals around the nation. It was my first introduction to a national public health organization, and it feels approachable. It meaning the membership, capacity building efforts, the workshops, everything feels approachable and tangible. So I appreciated that as a student, and I appreciate that now as a professional that I am able to connect with folks in person and virtually, but more importantly, be able to stay abreast for what is happening in our fields and be able to continue to move our field forward. So I was introduced to SOFI as a graduate student. My graduate advisor at the time, she mentioned SOFI to me through the journal Health Promotion Practice, actually. When she introduced me to SOFI, she said, you should go to the meetings, you should get to know the people who are leading the organization, and then of course get to know the journal that's most appropriate to what you want to do. And so I was able to learn more about the journal and more about the organization. So my introduction to SOFI, and this is why it is so important to me, because not only did I learn about it as a student, but it also encouraged me to dig deeper, be able to figure out how I wanted to write, what I was doing in the field, and how to continue to, again, elevate and push the field forward. So SOFI has a special place in my heart, and I'm just so happy to be a part of the team and to be able to work to advance our field. I've been to many SOFI conferences since I was a graduate student, and what brings me back each year are the opportunities to meet folks in person, of course. Being able to meet virtually was, of course, great, but being able to connect in person and work on skill building and connecting with folks for potentially research projects or publishing efforts is really important and impactful. But for me, it is the people. What brings me back to SOFI conferences each year is definitely the people. Just earlier today, someone mentioned that being at the SOFI conference just feels different from other conferences. So when I think about the atmosphere here at this conference, is different. Our leaders are approachable, they're personable, they're literally on the ground working together. So I appreciate that our leaders within our organization are, as I mentioned before, are approachable. It's just different here. That's not a criticism about other organizations or other conferences, but it actually feels like home and it feels like family. When I think about being here, I even had someone earlier to ask, are you exhausted now? We're towards the end of the conference, and I said, you know what? Actually, no, I can't believe we're almost done with the conference because it's been such a joy, such a pleasure to be around everyone, but it truly feels like family. So being able to connect in person, connecting about what we're doing in the field, seeing newer students who are talking about the work that they're currently doing, and even seeing retiring professionals pouring into those newer students and newer professionals. It's just so impactful and so rewarding to actually be here, connecting, vibing with everybody in person I love it. It's a family. One thing that I appreciate about SOFI is that we have 3 journals. So we have Health Promotion Practice, Health Education and Behavior, and Pedagogy and Health Promotion. With our 3 journals with different focus areas, different content areas, different researchers and practitioners and policy advocates who are publishing across the 3 different journals. What I appreciate about SOFI is that the leadership who came before me was very intentional about the types of journals that we wanted to see in our field, the types of work that we wanted to see pushed out to those who are again in the field, who are working, who are advocating for what we're doing. So I really love that about our organization. And of course, I can speak specifically about Health Promotion Practice, and we tend to publish work that will be impactful for policy advocates, policymakers, practitioners, folks who are currently working in the field, and researchers alike. We are also so proud to be able to publish work that is tangible for students, right? So students are able to see what is actually happening in the field, understand it. And then also, again, those practitioners are able to do the same, able to see what is happening in the field and publish their own work. And again, we are working in concert to be able to elevate and push our field forward. So that is something that is unique and exciting about SOFI, is that we have our 3 journals and we have editors who are passionate about the work that we're publishing. And it's not just about publishing just for us to keep it within our journals or within, our leadership teams, but it's about getting the message out to say, this is what is happening in our field, and this is where we suggest we would move forward. Here are our implications for what should be next. So that is exciting because you can see what is happening, but then also if you have interest in researching or advocating or practicing in different ways, you can see what you could potentially be doing next. There's a ton of potential in SOFI. One can be involved in publishing, one can be involved in volunteering on various organizations, you can present at conferences, you can be a part of workshops, and of course I'm going to advocate for learning how to write publications, how to write articles. The world is your oyster. The name, right? Our name, the Society for Public Health Education. We are an organization who is at the forefront of what is currently happening in the public health field, and we are not afraid to speak very loudly about what is happening in the field and in the world. I would say as an organization, and of course as the journals as well, but as an organization, what we're doing is leading and being what we want to see out there, right? So we're talking about what is happening. We're discussing disparities. We're discussing health inequities and health equity. We are talking about anti-racism. So we're intentionally and actively doing what we want to see in the world that we're living in. That doesn't mean we can always move the needle very far, but it does mean that we can do what is in our control to take small steps forward. So as an organization, as the individual who are making up the organization, that's what we do well, right? We're speaking out, we are being at the forefront, and we're ensuring that what is actually happening around the world and with community members and happening even to community members we are passionate about, we're speaking up about that. Earlier today, we had the Meet the New Editor of Health Promotion Practice. So I was able to meet interested authors and current researchers and tell them more about health promotion practice. And in those conversations, I was able to talk specifically with one potential author who was interested in learning more about how do you become an editor. And in reflecting on how I got to this particular point, I was able to think back to our previous editor who just retired. She took time to meet with me as a new author, as a graduate student, to talk to me about the revisions that were necessary for a paper I wanted to get published. So I would encourage folks who are in positions of power and authority to pour into those who are curious and eager to learn more about what you are doing. And those individual times, those moments can truly impact someone's trajectory, of course, and the rest of their lives. I had no idea that I would be an editor at this point in my career. And I'm just so excited about that opportunity. And I don't know that I would have had that opportunity if the previous editor had not taken the time to meet with me, to pour into me, to let me see this is what the world of an editor is like, and this is what you could potentially do. But more importantly, this is how you connect with folks who are actually doing the work that you want to see in the field.